Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and I do apologize for the echo. I'm having my room done, so that's kind of why it sounds the way it does right now. But hopefully next video I record I'll have a new mic. I've ordered one. I don't have to keep using my phone and voice memos to make these videos. But yeah, today we're going to be doing the 2018 redraft, and we're going to just start it off with the honourable mentions, then go starting at 1 all the way down to 10. So the three guys I have at the honourable mention spots are Gary Trent Jr., Wendell Carter Jr. and Miles Bridges. Now I think Miles Bridges and Gary Trent could be on this list by the time they retire. I think Miles probably should be on this list if he didn't run into the off-court issues that he did. But we're going to open it up with Gary. 18 points per game last season, 17.5 this season, shooting 43 from the field, 37 from 3. He's that perfect kind of like defensive-ish guard who can come and get you buckets as well. I think he'll be a bucket for quite a long time, and I think he's got quite a big future in the league. So I think we'll expect to see him around for a while. Wendell Carter kind of had a little bit of struggles in Chicago beforehand, but since being in Orlando, he's averaged 15 points. He averaged 10.5 boards last season. He's averaging 9 this season. 53% from the field. He doesn't really shoot threes, but when he does, he's not bad at 36% per 4 attempts. So yeah, I think he just needs to mainly focus on what he's there for in Orlando and kind of fit into his role a little bit. I don't think he has a star power to be in this top 10, but we'll have to see about that. And finally, Miles Bridges has not played a game in over a year. He averaged 20 last time we saw him on the court. He'd definitely be in this top 10 if he didn't run into the unfortunate off-the-court issues that he's got himself into. So hopefully we're going to see him back next season, hopefully at an all-star level. And when we maybe redraft next year, he'll be in the list for sure. Now, breaking the top 10. At number 10, we have the original number 1 overall pick, DeAndre Ayton. Now, I originally had him higher up on this list, then I've just sat down to like look at the list and maybe redo it just before I started recording. And based on playoff performances and stuff like that, these guys are who I have ahead of him are better in my eyes. But yeah, 10, 9, 8 and 7, I'm like, you can put them in either position and I'm happy with. But the way I ended up with it, had Ayton at 10. He's averaged 17 points on his career, 18 this season, 10 rebounds, just under a block a game. He's really the big man in the paint, kind of needs to work on his shot a bit as well. I think that's what he misses. He's not kind of a new NBA center, he's a bit more traditional. So I think if he can work on his offensive game a bit more, and sort of his defensive IQ as well has been slacking recently too. If he can work on those two things, he can definitely, take some pressure off his shoulders for being the number 1 pick, especially in how deep this draft is. So at number 9, we have Colin Sexton of the Utah Jazz. He's not been particularly great this season. I mean, he's only played about 24 minutes per game. He's only started 15 games. So hopefully next season we see him, properly indulge in the role in Utah and kind of, get more minutes, more playing time, better shots, stuff like that. He was injured majority of last season, but the last healthy season he had, he was averaging 24 points, looking like a beast. So yeah, I think it's kind of self-explanatory. He's not quite got the star power that the guys ahead of him have the potential to have or do have, but he's also not a scrub. Like, he can play, and I think he's going to prove to us next season that he can play, and he'll probably end up further up this list when all's said and done. Now at number 8, we have Anthony Simons of Portland. He averaged 17 points last season, and this season he's averaging 21. He's looking like that running mate that Damian Lillard's been looking for. Maybe with a bit more production on the defensive side, he can be great. He does have the upside there, especially offensively. I mean, he's averaging 45% from the field this season, 38 from 3, averaging 21, shooting 9 threes a game. I mean, he's efficient. He surely is efficient, 100%. He's only 23 years old. He's got a lot of room to grow here. And it's going to be interesting to see whether Portland trade Dame or keep him or keep Anthony, trade Anthony. We'll have to see what kind of direction they go as a franchise. But I've got him at 8. The 7 guys I have higher than him simply are above him because I believe their potentials are much higher than his. I feel like he's going to sort of cotton out a little bit coming over the next few seasons. I feel like we're kind of seeing the best we'll get from him. Again, he's only 23. This is just off the eye test. I'm seeing this. He could turn into a full-blown star, really. We just don't know. So, for now, I've got him at number 8. At number 7, we have Michael Porter Jr., who's come out averaging 17.4 points this season, shooting 41 from the 3 and 49 from the field. Now, the reason why Michael Porter is above Anthony, again, I feel like his ceiling is a lot higher, defensively and offensively. I feel like he's much more efficient and he fits into his role a lot more than Anthony does. Of course, I think on a team where he can be the guy, he'll be a lot better than what he is right now, especially with his numbers. But being on the Nuggets, being a championship contender, he gives them great value, great shooting at the wing, great defense too. Very underrated defense from Michael Porter, especially in this Suns series. So yeah, I've got him at 7. The 6 guys I have ahead of him are more accomplished players than himself. Now at number 6, I have Jalen Brunson. He's averaging 24 points this season and averaging 25 in the playoffs right now. He's going absolutely crazy.
First possession.
New York just absolutely annihilated Donovan Mitchell and his Cavaliers. And Jalen Brunson is a huge part of that. He's shooting 49 from the field, 42 from 3 this season. He should be coming into an all-star type of role next season, maybe even Knicks' primary guy. He's 26 years old, again coming into his prime. He should be getting it going, really. I think we're going to see a great couple of seasons ahead for Dylan Brooks. The guys I have against him, again, the guys I have ahead, they're more accomplished players. They've won a lot more, or they've proven a lot more than Brunson has. But I think he's another guy who's going to fly up this list, bring it back a season or 2. Now at 5, we've got Mikal Bridges, the two-way beast of this draft. He's averaged 17 in Phoenix at the start of the season, and he went crazy and averaged 26 a game in his 27 games for Brooklyn. I think he's going to be great. I think watch next season. He's going to absolutely explode in his role. He's got a much bigger role. He's the guy in Brooklyn right now. He averaged 24 in the playoffs pretty efficiently, 40% from 3, 43 from the field. He's going to be great next season, and I think he is one of the best players out of this draft. Because of his skill set, he can play both sides of the ball really, really effectively. So I think we're going to see him really blossom in Brooklyn next season and potentially even crack this top 4, top 3 list if we were to redraft next season. At number 4, we have the 2023 Defensive Player of the Year, Jaren Jackson, who averaged 18 points, 3 blocks, a steal a game. Pretty self-explanatory why he's here. He's not in the same band as the top 3 guys, but again, with everyone below him, he's achieved more. He's a Defensive Player of the Year, one of the best defenders in the league. 3 blocks a game, for goodness sake. He's been insane. Same thing in the playoffs. He's averaging 2 blocks. This playoffs, of course, Memphis, they got bounced early. He's a one-time All-Star as well. Like all the guys ahead of him, he's an All-Star. So I think Jaren Jackson is going to be one of the best guys from this draft. I don't really know what else to say about Jaren Jackson, to be honest with you. His upside defensively is pretty much there. Like, he's a Defensive Player of the Year, for goodness sake. 2-time block champ, for goodness sake. And his offensive game has room to grow, so we'll have to see. I think he has to be in a better position for that to really flourish. So we'll have to see how the rest of his career goes, but he's definitely going to be in DPOY run-ins for the rest of his career. At number 3, we have the one-time All-Star in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's just come off a season averaging 31 points per game, shooting 51 from the field and 34.5 from 3. He's absolutely blown up this season. He's the head guy of that Thunder core, and as they begin to use all that draft capital they've accumulated and their players spend time in the league and develop. That's going to be really interesting to see how this Thunder team is. But I know a lot of people would have him at 2. I know everyone would have him at 2 right now, but I'm not putting him at 2 for the simple reason we've not seen him in the playoffs yet. We've seen the other 2 guys ahead of him in the playoffs, and we've seen them have success at such a young age. Shea hasn't got that yet, which is why I'm keeping him at 3. But other than that, it's self-explanatory why he's here. At number 2, I have the 2-time All-Star who's just come off a season averaging 26 and 10, one of the best playmakers in the game right now, Trae Young. He's got efficiency problems, yes. I know that's the first thing people are going to be commenting, efficiency problem, defensive liability. But his offensive game makes up for it. He's averaged 29 points and 10 assists this playoffs. He's really, in the 4 games he played, 6 games they played, he really played his heart out. He was inefficient, yes, 40% from the field, 33 from 3. Slightly inefficient, but the way he leads this Hawks team and the way he sort of gets everyone involved is second to none. He's one of the best players, and he's going to be one of the best players going into this next decade of basketball. 2-time All-Star already at 24 years old. He should have been one this season. I don't care what anyone says. I'm keeping Trae Young at 2. And for me, it's never been the question of Shea over Trae because Trae Young has made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Shea hasn't even made it to the playoffs yet. Sure, they have 2 different teams, but individually, I'm taking Trae Young at 2. And at number 1, the wonder boy himself, Luka Magic, the 4-time All-Star who just came off a season averaging 32 points, 8 assists and 9 rebounds for this Dallas team. He did not manage to make the playoffs this season, but he's averaging 32.5 points for his career across the playoffs. He's averaging 10 rebounds and 8 assists across the playoffs. He's clear-cut the best player in this draft class, and probably in the next 10 draft class, he's the best player. He's going to be the face of the league one day. He's going to be an MVP one day. Hopefully win a championship one day. But yeah, he'll be in top 5. He's been in top 5 player discussions for like the past 2 or 3 seasons. He's only 23 years old. He's going to be in the top 5, top 3 players discussion for like the next 10 years. It's crazy how good Luka Doncic is. Again, he's a bit of a defensive liability, but everything else on the court that he does just makes up for it. So it's a no-brainer. Luka Doncic is one of the best players in the NBA right now. Forget this draft class, in the whole NBA. And we're just going to see him grow. We're going to see him blossom, and he'll probably be the best player in the league one day.